Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello, you're welcome to today's edition of Money Radio on Leadership Podcast. Money Radio brings you the latest development in business and economic cycles in Nigeria and issues of businesses around the world. My name is Innocent Odo, and today we are talking agribusiness of the Money Radio. And our focus today is on leveraging the green open lanes offered by the Chinese to Nigeria and other African countries. This is an opportunity for Nigeria and other African countries to export their agricultural products to China and make the necessary impact that is required of them with this opportunity. I'm in the studio today with Paul Owadema, and we're going to do justice to interrogating issues on this latest development of this agricultural opportunity that China has offered to Nigeria. And this is coming on the heels of the current conference on the 8th Ministerial Conference of the FOCAC. FOCAC is known as Forum for China-Africa Cooperation that is ongoing in Dakar, Senegal, where the Chinese President Xi Jinping made several offers to strengthen the relationship between Africa and China. And one of those items that we picked that will be of utmost importance to Nigeria and other African countries is this corridor of opportunity that has been given to Africa and Nigeria to explore in order to export goods and agricultural products to China and make profit. I'm in the studio, like I said, with Paul Wadema, with whom I'm going to do justice to this very important topic. Paul, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we're sounding more optimistic again. I'm more hopeful when the Chinese President Xi Jinping, of course, yesterday his keynote address to African countries who have gathered in Senegal to the 8th Ministerial Conference of FOCAC, giving us this opportunity. And one of those things is that he's going to open what they call green lanes for Africans to explore opportunity to export goods, agricultural products to be specific, into the Chinese territory in order to, of course, strengthen the bond between Africa and China. What exactly is your take on this latest development?
It's a welcome development. This is because from what the Chinese are saying, they are ready to open up their markets for agricultural produce from Nigeria and other African countries. It's not that this market has been hitherto closed for Africans, but what China is saying is that they are going to make it much more conducive for them to export their agricultural produce to China. Don't forget that Africa is competing with other countries to supply agricultural produce to China. What this means is that from what the Chinese are saying, they say that they are going to encourage e-commerce. They will use their e-commerce platforms to project African agricultural produce, so that there will be live streaming of all the agricultural produce from Africa to open up the market of China to Africans. And you know what it means. China is a country of 1.4 billion people. It's a huge market. So Africa has an opportunity to explore this market, to exploit it, to take advantage of it. Of course, China is not a Father Christmas. Yes. It has come under hammer lately because its trade balance with Africa has been skewed negatively against Africa. If you look at the trade balance between China and Africa, in the first 7 months of this year, the trade between Africa and China stood at about $139 billion. Out of this amount, Africa was able to export to China only $59 billion. So there is a deficit of about $80 billion. It is huge. So China is doing the right thing at the right time because there is a lot of negative press against China that is taking advantage of Africa. It has made Africa the dumping ground of its goods, and that some of them are substandard qualities. So that those kind of things are the things that China, I'm sure they are trying to remedy by saying, okay, we know we are enjoying some advantages over trade with Africa. Let us open our market so that you can also increase your volume of trade with us. So, but the question is Africa ready? Is Africa prepared? Is Nigeria prepared? This is because the competition is stiff. Because China already has eclipsed United States, it has eclipsed European Union as the world largest importer of agricultural produce in the world. Back from 2019, it imported about $133 billion worth of agricultural produce, most of it not from Africa. So it's an opportunity for Africa to tap in, but Africa must be prepared. We must be able to produce agricultural goods that can be competitive, that can be compared when they get to the Chinese market. The Chinese are very choosy now. Their middle class have increased, so therefore they are very conscious of what they eat. So if African produce come there and it's not of good quality, it is not well packaged, they are likely to lose the market. So that is why, to me, it's a good opportunity, but Africa and Nigeria must be ready.
Oh yes, Africa and Nigeria in particular, must be ready and to take this opportunity. Now, this has not been the first opportunity given to Africa. I remember what they call African Growth Opportunity Act, provided by the United States to African countries. Unfortunately, I don't think Nigeria has made significant impact in that opportunity that was offered by the US. Some other African countries like Rwanda and Egypt have taken advantage of such opportunity and have sending quality materials to the US market. There are still some left to be done. But then this is an opportunity again on the side of the Chinese, opening green lanes for Africa. So the question is now, how prepared, just like you said, what are the mechanisms, for instance, that Nigeria can and other African countries can adopt to ensure that what happened in AGOA does not happen in this opportunity being offered to us by the Chinese?
That's an interesting question. In 2019, Nigeria's agricultural exports to China was barely 2% of the total exports to China, barely 2%, compared to 76% crude oil that we sent to China. So you can see that our agricultural produce export to China is abysmal, barely 2%. We need a lot of work. Now, in that year, 2019, much of what China bought from Nigeria was things like sesame seeds, things like cashew nuts, things like cocoa bean, things like cotton, shrimp, and all that. Now, primary products. These are basically what China, but we didn't even have large quantity enough to be able to compete with the rest of the world who supplies to China. What can we do? If you look at some of these items I mentioned that they bought from China, China bought from Nigeria, they are goods that are specific in certain parts of the country. If you're talking about sesame seeds, you are talking about almost much of the northern Nigeria, from the northeast to northwest, Sokoto, Katsina, Kaduna, Kano, Niger, Benue, Taraba, all of them. This sesame seed grows very well there. What are we doing to encourage the production? How do we grow it more so that we can be able to export more to China? So that we cannot be having this kind of abysmal less than 2% export to China. So that's what we need to. You have cashew. China is in huge demand of cashew nuts, and we have cashew nuts. In many states in the south and in the north, they grow it. Talk about Imo State, Abia State, Enugu State, you talk about Kaduna, Niger, all this. What are we doing to encourage cashew nut growing in Nigeria? That is the area we have to concentrate about. If you talk about they are looking for cotton from Nigeria, they imported cotton from Nigeria. The cotton belt in Nigeria comprises much of the northern Nigeria and southwestern Nigeria. What are we doing to encourage the growth of this cotton in these parts of Nigeria? That is what should trouble Nigerian leaders. It's not just for them to go there, sit around with the Chinese officials and say, we agree, we'll do something, we'll take advantage of it. We must be very strategic. We must come up with plans on how to encourage the growth of all these agricultural produce that are in demand in China. And also, these are just mere primary products, but China is also in demand of dairy products because from what we gathered, as the population of China is becoming more middle class, they eat a lot of meat, they eat a lot of fish. All these are advantages that Africa can take advantage of. Nigeria can take advantage of it, and we'll see how we can use this impetus to grow our fishery industry, grow our dairy industry. So it's an opportunity for Nigeria to resolve once and for all the issue of farmers' headers prices, because meat is in high demand in China, and there are many parts of the world supplying China right now. Africa needs to take advantage of it. Nigeria needs to take advantage of it. That is my thing. It all boils down to preparedness. How prepared are we?
Yes, how prepared are we? And we always talk about this preparedness all the time.
Yes.
I remember when we had the opportunity of exporting yams to the European market, for instance. What eventually became of that situation, it didn't quite end well for the country. We understand also that the Nigerian cassava, the brand of cassava that we have in Nigeria, is one of the highest qualities in the world. But how far have we gone in at least making it affordable, making it presentable, credible, so to speak, to the Chinese market, for instance? I don't think we have exploited that opportunity.
No.
Now, something has been fundamentally wrong with the system that does not guarantee success out of an ambition like we are having. Why do you think that we keep having this back and forth?
We are having this back and forth because Nigeria has not taken agriculture very seriously. Nigeria has not taken agriculture as a business. And Nigeria has not thought it fit to increase budgetary allocation to that sector. If you look at the 2020 budget and all the budgets we're making in the last 5 years, agriculture is getting less than 2% of the total budget, which is far, far below the Mobutu declaration, that 10% of the budget is supposed to be earmarked for agricultural development. Now, when we don't allocate up to that amount, it therefore means that we are not ready to compete. That is basically the truth. If you don't have investment in the sector, how do you encourage farmers to go into some of these vital agricultural produce that will be of interest to China? So for us to do that, first of all, we must look at our budget, the 2022 budget, if there is any amendment that could be done to make sure that the allocation to the agricultural sector at least met the Mobutu declaration, so that we can be able to know that we are serious about being competitive in this sector. That is what I think should be done. And then another thing that needs to be done is collaboration with the state government. I mentioned some states now that has comparative advantage in growing some of these agricultural food that China is interested in.
Yes. So
what stopped those state government from encouraging their farmers to go full scale into the production of these agricultural food that are needed in China? When you talk about sesame seeds, you talk about cocoa, you are talking about ginger. All these things are in demand, and they are being grown in some states in this country. So what we need is synergy between the state government, the federal government, and then there must be funding. State governments must allocate much more money to agricultural sector. Federal government must do the same. The idea of treating agriculture as an orphan in budgetary allocation should be done away with. This is even more saddening because we have a government that claim that they want to diversify the economy using the agricultural sector as a pay. So under its watch, agriculture has not been able to meet the Maputo Declaration. Something is wrong somewhere. They need to look at it properly so that they can be able to fund this sector very well, so that this sector can also be competitive, so that this sector can take advantage of the opportunity being offered by China.
All right, we have to make our agriculture sector very competitive to exploit the opportunity that has been offered to us by the Chinese government of President Xi Jinping, who actually offered what they call the open green lanes for African countries, and specifically Nigeria, to exploit that opportunity to export agricultural products to the Chinese market. Remember also that China has 1.4 billion population. That is the most populous country in the world, and they are all in demand of some of the products that we are talking about. So this is a great opportunity for Nigeria and other African countries to exploit that opportunity. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll continue with the discussion. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we have been discussing the opportunity being offered to Africa and Nigeria in particular by the Chinese government to export agricultural products to the Chinese market. This is coming on the heels of the ongoing 8th Ministerial Conference of the Forum for China-Africa Cooperation, that is easily known as FOCAC, that is ongoing in Dakar, the capital of Senegal, where leaders of the continent and officials from the Chinese government are discussing on how to strengthen the relationship between Africa and China and build a community of shared future. And one of the items that have been so dominant in this discussion has been the issue of agricultural cooperation, where the Chinese government has decided to open what they call green lanes to African countries. And it's just an opportunity for Africa to exploit, to send its product to the Chinese market in order to earn more foreign exchange. I've been in the studio with Paul Wadema discussing the issue. Paul, before we went on that break, we're talking about how we can build mechanisms and systems to sustain agriculture so that we become more competitive, to take advantage of what the Chinese have just offered us. But one other thing we are talking about is raising the budget, like you said, for agriculture, quite vital. But is it within the priority of the current African government, for instance? The question should start actually from Nigeria, where we haven't actually measured well in that instance. So I think beyond budgetary provisions, Paul, maybe we don't have the resources even enough. We can see that Nigeria actually goes borrowing all the time, even to finance major projects in the country. So we may not really have available funds to put into agriculture to realize the Maputo Declaration that you have just talked about.
But putting borrowing money to put in agriculture would make more sense than borrowing money to put into some phantom projects, so-called infrastructural projects. Because if you put it in agriculture, you can be able to weigh the impact faster. Of course, nobody is disputing the fact that infrastructural facilities are not important, but we can borrow and put inside agriculture. We can borrow and encourage productivity in the agricultural sector. I think that would even make more sense.
Yeah.
I think even the IMF and World Bank, everybody will appreciate that kind of borrowing. It's important. We need to look for this fund.
Okay.
Because if agriculture is not properly funded, then we are not going to make any headway in the opportunity China is giving to us. That is basically the truth. The countries that have been able to meet the Mobutu Declaration will be more prepared than Nigeria to take advantage of this opportunity offered by China. That is the truth. Yeah. So we need to increase funding. We need to increase budgetary allocation. And besides that, we also need to address the issue of insecurity. Because if you look at the things that Chinese imported from Nigeria in 2019, basically sesame seeds, you talk about ginger, talk about cotton. Most of these things are domiciled in northern Nigeria, where we are having the highest incident of banditry. So we must also address the issue of banditry. If we do not, we can't make any headway. Because if you look at all the things that Chinese are looking for, they are the highest producing areas are in northeast and northwest of Nigeria. Now these places are hotbeds of banditry terrorism. It must be addressed. Farmers are no longer going to their farms. Farmers are not safe in their farm. Many communities have been displaced from their ancestral homes. Many are refugees in state capitals. So that is not an atmosphere for a country that want to take advantage of the opportunity being offered by China. Because when a whole agricultural community are being displaced and they are in refugee camp, how could they be productive? How could they produce ginger? How could they produce cotton? How could they produce the other things that China needed to import from Nigeria? So that basically we must ensure security. How do we do it? We must rejig the way we handle insecurity in the country. Thank God they have declared bandits terrorists. Yes. Maybe it will help, but it goes beyond the bandits being declared terrorists. We need to go beyond that to ensure that on the ground, farmers can be able to go to their farms, because that is the only thing they will understand, that things have returned back to normal, that they can be productive. Because declaring bandits terrorists, as good as it is, which is a welcome development, until the farmers are able to go back to their farms, we cannot be able to take advantage of what China is offering us. Well, it is a clarion call for our leaders. Some of them were at Senegal, where this issue has been discussed, to think about how to make this country safe for farmers and for everybody.
Okay, there's another thing that you raised, which is the issue of dependence on China. And of course, the Chinese have come under intense criticism of trying to use loans to lure African countries into a debt trap. But much of the work actually is supposed to be done by the African countries in building their capacity and building their incomes. So the Chinese have actually said that in the FOCAC arrangement, it is actually a pathway, to allow Africa to build its own future using a platform of cooperation with China, and not necessarily because the Chinese want to always dominate them. So the question of balance of trade can actually be addressed if Africans can have a framework. But it appears that individual African countries are aligning their own national realities individually and not as a collective effort. But now that we have something like the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the African Union is also there, and other regional organizations in Africa. It really be time for them to now begin to coordinate efforts, in this direction, to take advantage of this instead of this, operating in different silos.
Well, you are making a point that there is need for African cooperation to be synergy. Yes, there is to be able to take advantage of what China is offering. But Africa has made itself a basket case because of corruption. African leaders are so self-centered that they don't think about the future. That's why I always disagree with those who used to say who situate Africans under development on the colonial masters. Because I used to ask them, I say, is it not the same colonialists that colonized Africa, that colonized Singapore, that colonized India, that colonized Malaysia? Why is Africa on a different story? We are here every time we hear that it's because of the colonial masters. What the colonial? No, it's not the colonial masters. It's our leaders. We have not been able to put strategic thinking into what we do, and we have not been able to avoid the law of corruption by our leaders. So we are not able to think long term. If we're able to think long term, African countries don't need anybody to educate them on what to do, because already they are living in a continent that is the poorest continent in the world. They are living in a continent that has the highest number of out-of-school children. They are living in a continent with the highest illiteracy rate in the world. They are living in a continent where the health sector is a shambles, where they cannot get vaccine unless it's donated for them. Where no country except South Africa is producing vaccine in the continent to tackle COVID-19. They have enough to make them to come to their senses. Are you understand what I'm saying? So Africa does not need anybody to ask them to come together. They ought to come together by their poverty, by their underdevelopment. All this ought to unite them to say, how do we get out of it? How do we stop Africa being a basket case in the world? Okay, look at how they are treating this variant of COVID-19 that came out that was allegedly from Africa. You see the way they are treating Africa about it. They didn't treat China like that, except for Donald Trump, who tried to call COVID-19 Chinese virus. Are you getting it? The United Nations, the World Health Organization, everybody was trying to make sure that China is shielded. But look at what they want to do to our Africa, trying to link us with a new variant. So that's a lesson that Africa ought to know. That, look, if we don't take care of ourselves, nobody can take care of us. Even this opportunity that China has given us, China has only provided a platform. If you're good, I bring my good. If you're good, America will bring their goods. Canadians will bring their goods. Indians will bring their goods. All will be in the marketplace in China. Now, if our own agricultural produce are not competitive, how do we take advantage of it? You can't force the Chinese people to eat our cocoa. You can't force them to buy our ginger. Our ass must be good for them to buy it. Our own packaging must be top notch. Are you getting it? So this is basically what we must try and make sure that we encourage productivity in the continent. We must make sure that all African countries, with no exception, meet up to the Maputo Declaration to show that we are really serious about improving agriculture. Because agriculture is basically what we have now. We are not very competitive in the information technology right now. We are trying to see how we can survive in that sector. But agriculture is what God has given us. So we need to find a way to take advantage of it. Therefore, there's no excuse for any country not to meet up with the Maputo Declaration, including Nigeria.
All right, there is no excuse for any country in Africa, and of course Nigeria, not to meet the Maputo Declaration on the issue of budgetary provisions for agriculture in the continent. We have been having a nice time discussing the issue of agribusiness in this section of the Money Radio, and our focus has been on leveraging the opportunity that the Chinese have given to Nigeria and other African countries to export products, agricultural products to the Chinese market. This is coming in the heels of the Forum for China Africa Cooperation called FOCAC that is ongoing in Dakar, the capital of Senegal, where the Chinese President Xi Jinping made a whole lot of pledges to African countries in order to strengthen the relationship between his country and Africa in so many areas. And this particular area of agriculture has been our focus, and we hope that the African leaders who are attending that conference will have something to take home, especially in trying to revamp the issue of agriculture in the country and invest heavily on it in order to make our product competitive in the market as Chinese are offering us. It's on that note that we end today's edition of Money Radio, and we promise to bring you a fresh edition when next week comes. It's been wonderful talking with you, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us. And so have a wonderful day and stay out of trouble. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.